Hello and welcome to Wheels Boy. For this video, we've come to very chilly but very sunny Beijing to give you a video of this, the WEY Latte. Now, some of you may have heard of WEY because they recently started selling a car called the Coffee 01 in certain European countries. Well, this pretty soon could be sold in Europe as the Coffee 02. So we thought we would give you guys a sneak peek at what to expect.
With hands-on test drives and reviews of exciting Chinese market vehicles, Wheelsboy is the #1 source for China auto insights. Be sure to check us out on Instagram and Facebook.
This car, the Latte, is actually part of a series of cars here in China with similar names. This is the kind of mid-sized one. Underneath that is the Macchiato. Now, the Macchiato is sold as the Coffee 01 in European markets. On top of that is the Mocha, the mid-size offering. All of them have the same kind of design language. This design language was debuted some years ago. It was actually designed originally by a French designer that joined the WEY team, who has since left, but they've continued to evolve it. It includes this very kind of protruding, aggressive-looking front grille with lots of different features. I think the overall design language is one that combines sculpted body panels with some interesting sharp creases, particularly in places like the headlights and taillights, as well as some well-placed pieces of chrome. Overall, I think a very good-looking compact SUV, particularly in this cool kind of metallic seafoam color. Something that always confused me when it came to the WEY badge was the fact that underneath the words WEY, you also had the word Poting. Now, I had no idea what that meant, but I finally asked someone, and it turns out it's an English translation of the Chinese city Beijing. This is actually where WEY is from. Think of it the same way that you think of how Porsche puts the word Stuttgart on their badge. The Latte is pretty good in terms of a compact SUV. I would say it's one of the larger cars in its category. If we open up the rear electric hatch here, that means that there is some very decent space here behind the second row. A total of 600 liters. Here on the interior of the Latte, WEY is clearly going for a kind of luxury car feel with a lot of soft touch materials. Starting here with this kind of leather. I'm not sure if this is real leather or if this is leatherette, but it's a nice soft touch material that covers the dashboard. Feels good to touch. As you can see, I'm enjoying rubbing it right now. Up here, you also have soft touch dashboard materials, a HUD, which is always a good feature, an HUD. There are 3 screens inside of this car. In front of you, you have a 9.2-inch instrument cluster screen. I like the design of it. I think it's kind of cool how it hangs off the bottom of this piece that runs across the entire dashboard. Kind of a cool way to integrate the screen. The second and third screens are found here. You have a 14.6-inch instrument cluster screen, main infotainment screen, and then on the top trim level car, which is what this is. By the way, trim levels, medium, large, extra large, you know, because it's a Latte. But anyways, on the extra large version of this car, you have the a screen down here, a 9-inch screen that is used to control things like the air conditioning and other features inside of the car. Now, I mentioned the soft touch materials up here. This is pretty nice. The stitching is quite nice. There are some areas that are not quite as nice. I honestly am not a big fan of the look of this kind of wood, kind of knots pattern here on the dash. The plastics themselves, not overly impressive. This shifter knob, well, it's crystal looking. It's crystal looking at least. I know this is a thing that other brands like Volvo will do on higher end models. Tank, another Chinese brand, will do it. What to say about that? Not my style, not my taste. If you enjoy it, that's fine. Here in the center, you have a very useful wireless charging pad where you can stick your phone in. Speaking of charging, you have a USB port here on the side of the passenger, as well as here on the opposite side for the driver as well. Finally, you have center console here, plenty of space. Overall, a very comfortable place to sit and drive. Here in the back seat of the Latte, we've got a very decent amount of space, both leg and headroom. Very nice sunroof up here above us. Here's something I don't see very often, privacy shades / sunshades. Not something I've seen in a lot of cars these days. The color pattern is obviously the same as the front. It's got this very nice kind of light color mixed with this deep purple color. I like it. It adds a kind of upscale feel to the car, as do certain touches like these air vents that are finished in kind of a rose gold color. Very beautiful, and it actually makes it feel a little bit more luxurious. Speaking of luxury, I double checked, these are real leather seats on this top spec car, and they do feel very nice. We have down here in the center console, 2 USB ports, and then on another practical note, a fold-down center armrest.
The Latte has an impressive number of features, especially when you consider the fact that it costs between $25,000 and $28,000 US here in the Chinese market. This top-spec model has heated seats, a heads-up display, adaptive cruise control with traffic jam assist, remote parking, voice controls, and more.
Under the hood of the Latte is a 1.5-liter turbo 4 mated to an electric motor. That makes a total of 181 kilowatts and 532 newton meters of torque. That means about 240-ish horsepower, I believe, and around 400 pound-feet, 393 to be exact. That means this car is pretty quick, certainly off the line thanks to that electric motor. It has a good pep to it. 0 to 100 kilometers an hour. The official time is 7.5 seconds. That's not crazy fast by any means, but certainly for this category, it feels very adequate. The backing up that combination is a 2-speed dedicated hybrid transmission. Now, one of the difficult things in these cars is obviously the tuning between the gas motor, the internal combustion engine, and the electric motor, making sure that they are, the transition between the two is very smooth and all of that. And so, thankfully, they've managed to do that tuning quite well. It's very important. So it feels good. It feels good off the line, feels good when accelerating from highway speeds for passing. It's definitely quite adequate. I would compare it favorably in that respect to, I recently had the chance to drive the Volkswagen Tayron, which is essentially kind of a China market only version of the Volkswagen Tiguan that we get in, or people get in other markets. Now, that car is very Volkswagen. What I mean by that is that it does everything pretty well. There's nothing particularly amazing about it, but there's also nothing especially bad about it either. This car, however, well, its strengths are strong and its weaknesses are quite weak, I would say. I mentioned that power is quite good, but there are some areas that could use improvement. One area that needs improvement is probably in the suspension tuning. Now, I guess whether you think it should be improved really depends on what you think the goal is for this car. The Tayron that I drove, or basically a Tiguan, it had a kind of little bit of a sense of German solidity to it. It felt good going over bumps without being overly soft. Now, this car, it seems like they've tuned it to be soft in every single circumstance. That means that it's very comfortable going over things like speed bumps and potholes and things like that, making for a very comfortable daily commuter. But they've done that, I feel like, by making the suspension just incredibly soft. The body roll is quite excessive, in my opinion. I wouldn't feel that comfortable taking this thing, making a high-speed lane change, for example. It's not unstable or dangerous, it's not like that, but it just doesn't feel particularly comfortable doing it. Now, if all you want is a very comfortable kind of compact or mid-size SUV, well then, that's what you're gonna get. This thing's very good for that. However, if your goal is to have a car that feels more engaging in daily driving, this is definitely not what you're looking for.
The WEY Latte Coffee 02, when it goes on sale in Europe, is a well-appointed and well-priced compact SUV. It truly does have some very impressive features. The driving portion, however, not particularly great. It's very comfortable, very good on the road, but there's not a lot of driving pleasure to be had, not a lot of engagement. If that's your goal, this is probably not your choice in this category. Thank you very much for watching this video. Be sure to check us out on Instagram and Facebook, links in the description below. And as always, like, subscribe, and hit the bell.